You hit the button, but the computer died.
And we're live.
Self-destruct.
Yeah, we're
live
hanging on.
finally?
We're live, and
Okay.
we're hanging on by just a couple
Few,
percent on
percent on
the
the
battery of the laptop.
That's
It's
what we
plugged
get
in
for
and
missing
charging.
a week, dude. That's
But,
what we get.
So if it goes dead,
Hopefully, yeah. If we just all of a sudden aren't
Too
there,
bad.
sorry about
Yeah.
that.
we're just gonna keep going. You won't be able to see it on there.
There you
Yeah,
go.
we don't even care.
Yeah.
We'd be doing this anyway,
Right, we do this for us.
and then we go back and watch it later.
At least people know.
How, do you guys watch the podcast later?
I have, depending
Yeah.
on what it is.
Right.
Like I've looked for certain things, but I don't just, as a rule, go back and
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
I'm going to watch the podcast again.
I just fast forward to the parts where I talk and listen
Yeah.
to that.
and then he pauses,
So you can hear
like
yourself.
blows it up. He like
What? And
studies
he
his
slows it
mannerisms.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's the reason I don't like to watch.
Watch
it
what I
is
said here.
I don't like to see myself or hear myself. That sounds weird, but that's
No,
why.
it
That's
is
why I
weird.
don't like to
It's
watch
like going back
It
and
is
listening to
weird.
your sermons.
it. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, just right out.
Yep. It's probably good as far as learning what
It
to do
is,
and not
but
to do, but yeah,
It's painful.
painful.
Somebody put on Twitter, I can't remember, maybe Joe Thorne, I think, put on Twitter the other day about what is it that you hate that preachers do, and like I want to read the thread, but I also don't.
Right?
Right. Because you might be in there.
It's like, yeah, it's like what is it that you hate? Like during sermons, like what is it that you hate? Like a little idiosyncrasies and things like it's like I don't want to know.
I know all too well what I hate
What they-
about my own preaching.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go back
It's
and
like,
look
no,
at it.
It's
Yeah.
painful.
When you reach up your shirt and rub your belly.
No, I like that part because it brings brings me
that
it
happen
brings me
before?
comfort.
That was one of the first times he ever preached at a different church
Dude, I
in
was
Bend.
I was such a wreck, dude.
He was chewing his gum really good.
Two pieces.
Two pieces. He was
Wow.
working the gum, and then at some point he just reached up his shirt and just started rubbing his belly to comfort himself. and we all could see it. It
Did
was
you
like,
video it? We should-
no,
Oh, gosh, no.
This
That's
wasn't
pretty
that, wasn't that
No.
kind of church.
It wasn't that kind of church at all. Still isn't that kind of church.
No,
Oh, that's
very
funny.
low tech, very. But it was funny to see. One of my
Just a
favorite.
wreck.
How do the people in the Pine feel about that?
Yeah,
I don't think he's ever done it at the door, but this was just.
done it
It was that. I need some comfort right
Yeah.
now. Just rub my
Wow.
belly in front of everybody.
did Carrie say something before you went? Like, don't rub your belly when you're up there.
No, because I'd
Kinda
never done it before. It was
subconsciously.
like my first time preaching, so no one knew what to expect. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Nobody
just
saw
go
it coming.
die.
I twist my ring when I get nervous. I'll start just kind of twisting my wedding ring. So it's one of those kind of
Look
things.
at,
But
you got to get
Yeah.
the fidget one that actually has the
Spins.
little spinny
Yeah.
spin.
oh, I didn't know that was a
Oh,
possibility.
it's a thing, bro.
Yeah.
And it's
Wow.
it's
Your little
game
fidget
changing.
spinner.
okay.
When you're up there preaching, it's game changing.
Yeah.
No, that sermon was the one that made me decide, like, that's it. I'm not a preacher. I'll
How'd that-
never be able to preach. I'll never be, that was it. Like, I was over it.
How'd that work out for you?
I tried running.
Listen.
Yeah,
I remember those
How
guys
it
getting
started,
mad at
how
me.
it's going.
There were a couple times when my turn would come up, and I'd be like, nah, I'm not feeling very good, or I got like an earache, I can't do it. And they would call, like Jeff Smith would call and be like, no, you're coming, you're doing it. And I'd be like, no, I can't. I really feel horrible. Like we'd go back and forth, dude.
So now you guys know when that happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, now he actually just he still hates preaching.
Oh, I'm a
but
wreck.
he'll-
No, I'm a wreck.
He just
But I
preached
just don't
sick
stick
the
my
other
hand up.
couple
Yeah,
my
weeks
you
shirt.
ago.
preached sick a while back.
took some Dayquil and
Yeah.
Yeah, the last 2 Sundays I've been pretty sick. Like I would have rather have not preached.
It's the
but-
holy sweat, man.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It's
So-
like Jordan when he, scored 63 points with the flu.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
No, that's hardcore.
Yeah.
That dude's not human. He's
No, he's superhuman.
yeah. He was superhuman. So how's Hawaii these
was
days?
good.
Okay, good.
Yes, very good. Warm.
Did you paddle out?
Did you go
to the
there for
lineup?
Thanksgiving?
We were there before Thanksgiving and then came back Thanksgiving Day. 2
Oh.
weeks.
Well, you traveled on Thanksgiving Day. How was that?
It was busy.
Yeah.
Like 8,500 people leaving Hawaii in the
Wow.
airport.
Yeah, that's horrible.
It was crazy.
Did you still get turkey?
Yes.
Okay, good.
We had Thanksgiving on Tuesday instead of Thursday.
Oh.
Did they serve a Thanksgiving meal on the flight?
No.
They don't serve
It
meals.
was a Hot Pocket.
That's not
And it
bad,
wasn't even
actually.
turkey,
That's pretty
so-
good, bro. I'd take a hot
I
pot.
know. It's good.
Smoke it.
I'm like, that works for me. So.
Yeah. So you and Carrie, and that's it?
Nope. Carrie and I
Allie,
and the kids.
girls? Okay.
All
Yeah.
the kids. So
Dude,
we
that's
kind of feel like, they're getting older, so it's
You're not
just
going to be
don't
able
know
to do
how
it too
many
much.
of those times
Yeah.
are coming.
No, totally.
So,
Totally.
like, let's go, 5 of us, and
So
it was
what
good.
in the world do you do for 2 weeks in Maui?
Go to the beach.
Do a lot of
Blue
puzzles?
Owls. No puzzles. Just hung out, relaxed. Went to the beach every day and drove up to Hana and did the Haleakala and
Well, that island's small enough where you.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at, Brent? The names?
She's making up
The
words.
Kaliakada?
Yeah.
Smaliaka Fla?
Went down to Lahaina, see all
Kalikimaka.
the devastation.
Lahaina?
Cockamamie. You can throw that out there somewhere.
That's right.
Went to the Haina?
Lahaina.
Cheeseburgers in Paradise burnt down, didn't it? Do you even know what
I
that
don't
was?
know what that was.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Probably.
It was pretty legendary.
It was. I mean, it was devastating. I mean,
It was in
everything
Lahaina.
Oh, wow.
It was gone, pretty much.
That's too bad.
So, yeah,
But yeah, the island's so small that you can just kind of day trip or half day
Oh, yeah.
trip from one side to the other. There's cool hikes. We went
Yep.
through like a couple hikes while we were
Yeah.
there that were like on the other side of the island. And
Yeah, and it's fascinating. You go from one side of the island to the other, and it's totally different.
Totally different.
terrain.
Yeah.
It's like green
Yeah.
and lush on one side, and
Yep.
dry, and
I did enjoy Maui.
Desert,
I thought
yeah.
it was kind of cool.
yeah,
I don't know.
it was fun. We had a good time.
Yeah.
So
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Glad you're back.
it's good to be back.
Everyone's Thanksgivings were good. Everyone missed us last week.
Yeah.
I had people
That was just last
texting
week.
right and left, going like, "I can't
What am I
believe that you
supposed to
guys
do?"
are." Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. How can
On
I get through?
Thanksgiving, I
Yeah.
can't believe that you're not doing it.
Yeah, people were in despair that we
Yeah.
missed a week.
you know,
I'm sure it
no
was
matter
bad.
how many of
We're
those
gonna
texts I
try to
got,
make up for it this
zero.
week.
You know.
No one cared.
No.
We're gonna go 2 hours this week just to make up for it.
There we go.
With a really boring subject.
Extra banter today because we missed it last week.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It was
I
a
need to
good.
pull up myself.
It was a good day off, and we didn't do our Thanksgiving.
Is
till
everybody here? You guys all stay here?
Yeah, we didn't do ours till Friday. So Thursday, I just basically worked on my sermon and watched football. So it wasn't a bad day.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, I ate. You know, sat around.
Yeah.
Ate. Yeah,
Yeah,
which
so-
is rad.
I had a minor Traeger emergency the day of, but we powered through it, and
What happened?
turkey was smoked.
Bad pellets.
Oh,
Moisture got in there. Yeah, problem solved. Crisis averted.
you just put some new ones in.
Yeah.
How do you do your turkey?
How does
We
Carrie?
brine it, and then how does Carrie?
How does
Exactly.
Carrie do your turkey? Yeah.
Brine it, and then you put it in the. You just put it in the oven.
Oh, just okay. Just boring.
I haven't Traegered.
You guys
it
are
yet,
just
but I
boring
wanna-
like that.
Yeah, I want to Traeger it one of these years. But
We did an episode a couple years ago on how to do turkey, so
Did you?
could dig back into the archives.
I'll have to check that out.
We did the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
smoke yours?
We did turkey
Yeah,
talk.
with the Traeger.
Yeah.
We butterfly it because David doesn't like it when we use the other term, but
Well, there's a lot of people who don't like the other term.
it's
Not
just
just
it
me.
sounds weird. But you
I actually
cut the
say
spine
it.
out and flatten
Yeah.
it, and it cooks more evenly. And
Right.
the
Yeah.
spatchcock turkey worked better than the rotisserie turkey, and I was kind of surprised we did too.
Yeah.
And it was actually more moist.
And I like the rotisserie. better.
Well, I mean, it could have been the way we did it, but it just this particular one, the other one
better.
was juicier. Yeah.
There's
But ours
also-
turned
there's
out
also
really
You're gonna have to
frogging
do
your
like a
turkey. Have you
cook-off.
heard that term?
No, he'll win.
A turkey cook-off.
These guys will win. I'm not going to win.
Turkey's bad.
Actually, if my wife's in on it,
if you're gonna do a cook-off, do something good. You do a brisket or
Yeah,
a
we
tri-tip
do
or
brisket.
something.
So
Don't do turkey.
can you handle spicy food?
Some.
If we
No. No, I'm not doing.
Oh,
chicken
you
wing
heard
thing.
about it? Oh, you heard about it? We
You guys
told
have
you?
been talking about it.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do. Well, I'm not gonna participate.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
don't know if you guys
hosting.
can do
Participate
it.
because it's your idea.
We got to find a couple other culprits, man, to jump in here. Like stick one here and one there.
Yeah,
We
who
need
would
at
that
least
be?
2 more guys. Get 4 of you doing
Get
it.
up some spice. Yeah.
You're not
I don't
gonna do
mind
it?
it, but I don't.
If David doesn't participate, we're not doing
I'm
it.
not a
Yeah.
chicken wing guy. I don't like them.
What?
What does that mean?
I just don't like chicken.
Just
wings.
at
Are you
all?
American?
Yep. But I don't like chicken wings. My kids love them, but I don't. I'm like, yeah.
Are you human?
Yep.
All
I
right.
don't like
well,
chicken legs either. So,
so you don't even like fried chicken?
not chicken legs. Breast,
They're
I'll
just
eat.
gross. Like
I think I
do
just
they-
grew up eating them all the time.
Oh,
We could
So-
do chicken tenders for you.
so you don't like dark meat?
That's what my son said. I said, well, I don't like the bone. He's like, well, that's just chicken tenders. I'm like, well, yeah, true. I like chicken tenders.
All right. So you're in with
If
chicken
they're
tenders.
boneless, then
Yeah.
if they're boneless, I would do it.
All right.
All right.
Settled. You're in.
Okay.
For those who are confused, we're talking about doing a hot ones episode where we have 10 hot sauces, and you have to start at the mild and work your way up to the hottest and see who can make it through.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
be
we're doing.
I
And
already
you're
know.
in.
I already know who's going to make it through.
I'm in if David's in.
Are you serious? Seriously?
He says he's going to host it, but if
Yeah,
you've ever
you
watched
can't
the
just
show,
host it.
well, if you've ever watched the show, the host actually eats
Look,
It's
the
like
I'll-
man versus food, isn't it?
I'll eat the
Yeah.
stinking chicken legs. I'm just not going to put the stuff on it.
Oh, that's not even fair.
I like chicken legs.
That's the whole point.
I like them. All right, let's do something here.
Come on.
Yeah.
Look
I think-
at Jeff's
I
got
think
a-
we've doubled
I
our
got a
banter this
stack.
week.
Jeff's got a stack. We're doing a resource
You gotta
dump
tell 'em
today.
what
We
they're
did one of these probably a year and a half ago or something like that, where we just kind of recommended a bunch of stuff. I think a lot of times people think that pastors learn all this stuff. They get educated and then that's it. It's like, no, continued education, right? What's the stuff that we're continuing to utilize as far as our own personal growth and still being students of the Word and all that good stuff. And now more than ever, I think there's a ton of good stuff out there, man.
Yeah.
And so many, platforms for continued education. So I said that these guys could bring what they've been reading and what they're recommending if they want. Jeff's the only one that did. No. Brent, last minute.
I got mine are all right here.
All right, Chad. That doesn't, I don't know.
Why bring a book in when you can just write the title down?
I know, you
And
don't
especially it's a podcast, so there's people listening.
vote.
Well, some of us
Can't
don't
even-
read.
They can't even see
Some
what
of
we're
us
doing.
don't read anything.
If you're listening on the podcast,
Some of
pretend
us
to-
read all
When I
kinds
said
of
mine are
things.
right here, I held up my phone because all my stuff's in my Kindle
all there.
library.
That's right. You do digital
Yeah.
I do too.
and paper.
Well,
You gotta have a
I
book. You
haven't
gotta
printed it
gotta smell the book, dude. Gotta.
If
And I just
download
found
an
out that's a
if
thing,
I download
bro.
an ebook and then I print it out.
Whatever. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what we're doing. Tis the season.
It is.
Let's start with that. Is there anything that you guys have enjoyed at Christmas time, or that you would recommend that your congregants might go and venture into during Christmas time? Good Christmas stuff. Good Christmas materials, resources. Go. Don't all jump in at once.
You want me to go first?
All right, let's move on.
Christmas Uncut.
Oh, you got it right there.
Yep.
Oh, I
What
like
really
the size of
happened
that book.
And why it really matters. I do like little smaller books. at Christmas time.
That's
Yep.
what I'm talking about.
Case for Christmas with Lee Strobel. Christmas we didn't
Is that
expect.
one good?
David Mathis.
I've never read the Strobel Case
Yeah,
for
it's
Christmas.
good. And then this is one that we just ordered a bunch of and have given out to
Okay.
churches.
I've seen
Everyday
it, yeah.
Gospel Christmas Devotional by Tripp.
Cool.
They gave them out for free. Crossway did, so we just bought a box of them and
So he had a regular devotional out prior to that, right?
Yep.
Just called Everyday Gospel.
Yep.
And then this,
he
but
did
this
like
is
a
the Christmas edition.
Yep.
Interesting. A
Yeah.
way to make more money out of
Right.
it.
Well, they gave them out for free. So.
Okay, gotcha. So maybe not. Okay.
yeah, that's a good deal.
So. those
I
are
haven't
ones.
read either of them, but two that I've seen and wanted to get and thought about. They're Advent devotionals. One's by Jared Wilson, and I don't know
Yeah.
the title. And the other one was by Ronnie Martin, which I think you have.
I've been going through that one. This is my second year going
Did you
through
bring it with you?
it. No.
Oh, weird.
It's at home, dude. I don't want to get. I don't want to. Look,
Should've
you don't
brought-
like clutter on the
So
tables.
You're
said
making
we
my
could
case
bring
here
it.
for.
No, I don't have it on
Digital.
here, Chad. It's a real book that I can pick up. It has weight.
You can
What's
get
it
it
called?
on there.
The pages are sniffy.
Scratch
Hang
and
on a
sniff, is
second.
it?
You sniff them before you.
Sometimes,
He
yes.
smells the books.
Yeah,
See
scratch
if
and
it's
sniff
old.
stickers.
Tells you if it's old.
If you haven't tried it, don't knock it, bro.
They probably have a spray for that, don't they?
I would buy a cologne. I would buy a cologne that smells
Old
like
book.
pages,
It smells
like
like old
print
books.
or ink. Dude, I totally would. Ronnie Martin's is The God Who Is With Us is the name of it. It's a 25-day Advent.
That's good.
So you start December 1st, obviously. And,
Do you know who Ronnie Martin is?
I know the name, but
excuse me.
He
Tell
was
him.
in a band in the 90s, early 2000s.
90s and early 2000s.
Probably still going,
Ricky's
actually. Joy Electric is the name of the band.
Well, Jason Martin was his brother,
Ricky
which was
Martin?
Starflyer.
No.
No.
Little living La Vida Loca.
right.
Do you know Starflyer 59?
Nope.
The band? Okay, so they're both tooth and nail bands, but
Okay.
Ronnie Martin and
So he was part of a band called Joy Electric, which was synth,
yeah.
like actually mono synth, so more analog synthesizer. Like it's definitely an acquired taste. It's kind of its own little dealio. But anyway, he was into that, and
Yeah,
that's
he did
where
a
we
little
first
devotional.
found out about him. And
Yeah.
then he became a Reformed pastor,
yeah.
Oh.
which he is to this day. Him and
Where's he at?
Jared Wilson are good friends.
Okay.
And I can't remember where exactly he's at.
Oh.
Midwest.
Say
Does
somewhere.
he do
too.
the podcast with Jared?
I think he's in
Sometimes.
Ohio.
Yeah.
He's in Ohio somewhere, I think.
Okay.
Maybe. Anyway, he put out one 2 or 3 years ago called The God Who Is With Us, which is,
Oh, yeah.
like I said, a 25-day Advent devotional leading up to Christmas, and I've really enjoyed it. Dude's a pretty good writer. I found it to be. I would highly recommend it, actually. So,
I've got a couple Spurgeon ones. Good Tidings of Great Joy, and then one called Joy to the World.
there you go.
And they're both. I mean, they're Spurgeon, so
Yeah.
can't go wrong there.
No, you can't go
they
wrong with
short?
that at all.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that, Chad. All right. Besides that now, just Christmas aside, unless you guys had more Christmas recommendations. All right. Let's just go into what are you reading or watching or listening to or enjoying currently, starting with books. We'll stay with books for a minute.
The Bible.
That's a good one.
The One Ring to
ESV,
rule them
the
all.
ESV particularly.
Yeah, hang on.
Did you get the big print?
Oh, yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
Checks
What, passes the smell test. Is that what happened?
I had to do it for everybody
Yeah, just to
watching
make
because it's.
I said that to sound extra spiritual, and also because I haven't really been reading a whole lot.
So you recommend the Bible?
I would recommend it highly.
That's
2 thumbs up.
very highly
Five,
recommended.
5 stars out of 5 stars.
5
This
out
is
of
a
5.
really good podcast.
I'm sorry.
Blowing
I did.
people's minds right now.
I did take a book the other day when I
You're like,
had
duh.
Joy had to go to the doctor, and I was in the appointment room waiting, and I took a book that somebody had recommended, and I was just not enjoying this book
That
at
was your
all.
Marvel comic.
No, it was terrible. So
awesome.
that was the last book
What
I
was that
attempted. I'm not going to say it because just in case they heard the podcast, they would know. and I don't want to be disrespectful to this person because I
Well,
very
the
much.
verdict's still out because we're not done with the book yet.
Yeah. The point is that it starts out it's going to make a point at some point in the book,
some
and it
point.
takes a minute.
Takes a while.
Yeah.
You got to wade through some stuff to get to
I'll
the,
just
to
leave
the
it
meat.
at that.
Those are
Yeah.
tough ones.
I was actually going to go into more detail on that
Oh,
book,
go
but
ahead.
no, I'm not. I'm not
You
going to
actually
because
like it,
we're all
right?
no, we're all reading it. No, I'm having a hard time.
Okay.
Because it starts with a fictitious genre to move to its point, and so you have to wade through this genre.
And the genre is not a genre that we would ever read.
I feel
You
a
can
little
just-
dirty.
Just say it.
reading
Except it was recommended by somebody we respect.
You started it. You
Well,
say
I
it.
didn't. I started out saying I'm not enjoying it.
I'll ask
I'm
you what-
certain
I'll
he
ask you
doesn't
about the
watch
book
this
after.
podcast.
Probably not.
And we
It
we
starts
do
out like a
appreciate
romance novel.
This guy.
Just say that.
Yeah,
and
it's
then,
like
and then
a
it's
romance
supposed to move
novel.
into some kind of makes a big point about the gospel and grace, but we haven't. It
Yes,
takes,
I have heard of it. I don't
Yeah.
know that I've read it.
Do you want the title?
Go ahead, David.
No, we might.
Yeah.
Between Noon and 3 by what's the dude's name?
Can't remember his name.
Robert Capon. Capon. Between Noon and 3.
I think it was written in the 70s.
70s.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. So it's kind of a metaphorical like story of an affair that goes on between obviously a man and a woman who weren't married. And then it goes into, once you wade through that, a theological, kind of a Christ-centered, like gospel-centered.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
It makes a point. There's a punchline. There's like a boom, a wow factor.
But you haven't
And
got there.
I
We
haven't
just
got there
want
yet.
I just want the
You want
wow
the wow
factor. I don't want
Just go
to.
to the conclusion then.
Well, I can, but it's not going to hit as hard. You know what I mean? Like the
Right.
drop won't.
Well, the guy
be as-
tells you in the
as
forward,
droppy.
like you got to
gotta
wade
wade
through some
through it.
stuff
Okay.
in order for the point to really.
And I
pack a
trust the
punch.
guy
Yeah.
that recommended this. Like
Yeah.
I think he probably knows what he's talking about, and it
Yeah.
really probably is profound. I
But-
just don't. I'm not a good reader, dude.
Stay-
And so if I'm not interested in something or something's not moving right, like it's painful.
Yeah, lose
It's
interest.
painful.
Yeah.
And there's no movie. I looked. So
There's not. There's no clip notes.
no.
No. What else? What else you guys reading these days?
I just finished reading this book called "The 5 Lies of Our Anti-Christian Age" by
Oh, yeah.
Rosaria Butterfield.
Nice.
How'd you
Really
like
good,
that?
Really solid. I'd highly recommend it
I like
to
Rosaria
any
Butterfield.
believers. Just and she just kind of goes through these 5 lies of, homosexuality, modesty, and she just kind of works through these 5 different things that she believes are kind of the big lies that are being told right now. That these things, these things don't matter, or
Okay.
they should be a priority, and then she debunks them basically by her own experience, but mainly through here's what the Bible teaches us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
She's pretty sharp
yeah, very sharp.
and,
done her
and has a good way
research.
of communicating. Like
Yep.
she doesn't make you feel dumb. Like you can kind of
Yeah.
hang with what she says.
No, and she's not
just as good
writing
that way.
from what's the word? Ignorance in the
Right,
sense of
right.
she's been there, walked through it,
Right.
Sure.
you know, and shares the story. And part of it is her story of how she came to faith in Christ.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it. Thought it's a great read for especially helping Christians think about these things that are being promoted right now.
That would be a good read. How about for young women, like teenage
Yes. Yep.
women?
Absolutely.
I mean, dudes too, but like.
Yeah, and I think it. Think both men and women, but I think this could be a book like a women's study could go through, and it'd
There
be
you go.
very,
Interesting.
very beneficial for them.
Let's
just
stay
to
on
think
women
through.
for a second because we failed to do this last time. And anything you guys would recommend specifically for the women in your church?
Or even like authors. I know somebody had said last time we gave a bunch of recommended resources, but it was all stuff that, for men. And the two that I thought of that I would have mentioned last time would have been Alyssa Childers. She's an apologist, and she's got a YouTube channel. She's got books that she puts out, and she's very sharp. And then Jen Wilkin, I think, is the other name that I would throw out. And I'm sure there are others.
Nancy Lee DeMoss.
Yep.
Yeah, she's written a recent, I don't know if it's recent. Maybe it's been revised on forgiveness.
Some of the women in our church just went through the study Jesus and Women. It's a study that's out by Christy McClellan. Never heard of her before. My wife thoroughly enjoyed this.
Heard a lot of good things about it.
She thought it was absolutely amazing. Jesus and Women. So that may be one worth looking into.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to any books.
I'm mostly these days got my head in commentaries.
Yeah.
And even that, not a ton.
Do you want to drop a couple commentary names?
Probably.
Or do you want to keep them to yourself so we can't see where you're forming your sermons?
No, I'll drop some names.
Somebody will buy that and like, oh, Chad, that sounds familiar.
Oh, this is verbatim.
Right. No, I mean, there's a lot of like academic commentaries out there, but there's also a lot that are kind of more accessible and kind of street level that aren't super academic.
That's my speed right there.
Right. And one of the kind of more street level ones, Christ-centered preaching series. They're good deals on Kindle, which is probably why I have them, because they're usually only a couple of bucks.
Christ-centered exposition.
Christ-centered, sorry. There also is a Christ-centered preaching, but Christ-centered exposition is the one I was going for.
That's what I thought.
That one's super accessible and super simple, and I think probably just even people that aren't pastors and aren't prepping sermons would benefit from the Christ-centered exposition series.
That's not what we just got the James from, right? That was an ESV.
No, that's more of a book of the Bible. It's just going through the book of James, and it's more of a study. Greg Gilbert is the one that is, but I can't think of the name.
But it's
of the
not
series.
from that series.
No, it's a different series. And then maybe the other one that I'll throw, the Christ-centered preaching series. This is a little known hack, life hack, that if you subscribe to ESV Online, which I think is $3.99 a month. Might be a little more now, but I think it was $3.99 a month when I subscribed for it. Then you also get access to the Christ-centered preaching commentaries.
Actually, you get access to preaching the word.
Or preaching the word. Gosh, I'm just
that's the
not getting my names right.
Yeah. Hey, Chad, it's okay. It's okay because Brent's here.
Can't use one.
It's a bunch of different guys.
Okay.
But
that's David.
So ESV.org. If you go there, they've got Bible study helps and stuff like that. I think it's $4.99 a month. It's gone up, Chad. Sorry.
Okay. Inflation.
But
you've been grandfathered in.
Chad, you're just striking out.
Sorry. I am, man.
No, he's the one that told me about it. That's why I know. But the Preaching the Word series is great.
Preaching the Word.
Preaching the Word commentary series, and then there's a global Bible study help too.
There's other things there, but probably for my ESV subscription, that commentary series is what I use quite a bit, and it's super accessible and easy to hang with as well.
Nice.
There's also the God's Word for You series, which is also very similar as far as the practicality, easy to read, and the Bible Speaks Today is another good one. But if you're looking for something more academic, my favorite one that's a little bit more heady, but it's the Pillar,
Pillar,
Pillar, the Pillar New Testament commentary is a great series.
And that's a collaboration of people.
Reformed Expository.
Yeah, it's Carson, D.A. Carson, and Douglas Moo, and different guys, but they're all they're scholars, and it's gonna break down things.
One book commentary or series commentary?
It's a series. Every book of the Bible is
its own
big
book.
Fat book.
Is a big fat book.
Yeah,
good.
So,
but you said more technical.
Definitely more technical.
A little more.
Yep.
Heady.
Well, some of these, like if you buy the actual books, you might be dropping, $20, $30, $40 on a book. A lot of these will be on special for Kindle for, a couple bucks, $3, $5, whatever. So it's a little easier to compile some of these things. And
but then you gotta have a Kindle.
Right.
Do you want to show your hand on the commentary you like?
My favorite commentary.
Or what do you go to more than anything?
The one that I go to most is probably the one I use by Kent Hughes. He doesn't write all of them, but he is typically editing.
I know which one you're talking about. I can't think of the title of it. It's a well-known
it's
one.
like Preaching the Word or something like that.
I have it through Logos, and I can't remember what it's called.
Because and I think a number of them, maybe not all of them, but a number of them are essentially his sermons. I think on that. I mean that's what MacArthur's was too. That I think he preached a series of sermons and he just published those that way.
Right.
But all the it has a mix of sort of both technical and practical. Illustrations and things like that. So that's typically what I'll go to. But
But none of these can top Vernon McGee.
I was going to say through I have them written down.
And street level.
On the Bible bus.
Through the Bible.
Yep. Okay.
Through the Bible.
I have that commentary series sitting on my shelf.
He's
actual
on the radio
books.
every day.
Nice.
Still.
And they are just very practical, easy to read.
So practical.
Helpful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not technical at all.
No.
Not heady at all.
It's better when you can hear his voice, though, I got to say.
Right.
No, it is.
Right, you
but
gotta
you
listen
can
to the
almost
guy.
hear it as you read
Yeah,
the
you can.
commentary
I agree.
because of just his phrasing and the little jokes he makes or little cute comments that he makes. It's like, you're a cute little short Southern guy, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know?
He's a good dude.
Yeah. The book I'm still more in than anything else right now is 2,000 Years of Christ Power. I just keep going back to that series that we got. Austin had recommended it like a year ago, but this year with us going through like the Reformation history and some of that stuff, it's just thrown me more into church history, period. And this is the one.
And we do have a copy of that series in the church office.
Yep.
But if you want to borrow it, you got to bring it back.
Yeah, you can't keep it. Don't put
It's
your
like-
name in
Is
it.
it like
or-
$1,000 deposit?
Well, no, just we trust people. But it's
buy
like
it.
it's 5 books.
We have cameras. We have security cameras.
perfect.
that,
We know.
where the books are.
Each
so-
book go
we know.
through is the patristic.
Do you have like a checkout like the library used to have?
No.
You have to write it down on a little card.
It's just the honor system, which probably isn't a good thing, but that's what we
It's
use.
dangerous.
All right, let's move on from books. Let's go to podcasts. This one's probably going to take more time. Actually, maybe not for you. You're probably not even a podcast guy. Are you?
Yep.
Oh, you are?
I am.
Well, dang, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Wow,
I
just
took, you
insulted him.
as a book nerd
No.
only. So.
Not only. No.
All right, let's go podcasts. What are you listening to?
You're Not Crazy.
Or what do you recommend?
Ray Ortlund Jr. and Sam Albury.
I've seen a couple of those.
They've done a
I've
couple
watched
of those. That
listened.
was good.
Are they new?
Newer. Yeah.
Okay.
Alyssa Childers.
We can't say her name twice.
We did. Unshaken Faith, Alyssa Childers and Natasha Kane. They kind of do a little sort of mini podcast. I actually listened
For
to
dudes?
Unashamed by the Robertsons, the Duck Dynasty guys.
Oh yeah.
And you're
Listen to that?
and you're unashamed about that.
Unashamed.
So, like, what kind of stuff do they like
They
typically
actually,
talk about?
interestingly enough, they basically just do a study through books of the Bible.
Interesting.
Really?
So it's
I'm a Duck
it's
Dynasty
the
fan.
oldest
I would check that
who's
out.
pastor.
You just made Chad's day right now.
and
That's why we do
Jace
this.
And Phil. And once in a
Interesting.
while they'll have the different people on there talking about different
Interesting.
things. But
Uncle Si?
That actually
Uncle
sounds.
Si's on there.
That sounds
sometimes.
kind of fun.
He's kind of goofy in the series,
Right.
but when he gets on the podcast, he's pretty serious.
That
about his
sounds
faith.
kinda
I kind
fun.
of always wondered because I watched the Duck Dynasty
Yeah.
series, and I
Yeah.
always kind of wondered, like, how staged is this? Like, is this really
Right.
like who these people are?
Yeah.
All those
I
shows.
think a lot
And
of
either
it is.
way, it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just wondered, like, reality versus played
So
for
as
the
much
camera.
as possible, doctrinally, theologically, are they very
Yeah.
simple?
They
are
are.
they sound? Like,
Yep.
can you would even like
Yeah,
tell
I mean,
someone
for
in your
the most part,
congregation if they're interested, like,
Yeah.
hey, go listen to this. Okay.
Yeah, and I would, there are some things I think I probably don't know. I don't know that I would say
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same
yeah,
way,
yeah, yeah.
but
So they
for
don't
the
go
most
like
part.
too in depth with
No.
stuff. Okay.
And then the most recent one I've been listening to is called Post Everything. What are the names? I wrote them down.
Eswine had a book called
Brad
Postmodern Everything,
Edwards
right?
and John Humus.
Okay.
So they, the most recent one I listened to, they had, I can't remember the guy's name on there. Anyways, they do some interviews with pastors, but they're talking about like all the things that are going on in the world,
Yeah.
just and how it's a post-truth culture and how do we navigate that as pastors
Right.
and what does that look like? And
Are these all pretty much weekly podcasts?
yeah.
Okay.
It seems like once a week they're putting out a podcast. So
Sounds good.
So
and I listen to
noticed
Joe
there's-
Rogan. So
Do you? Do you smoke pot while you
No,
listen?
I
to it?
don't.
Okay. Do you
That's good.
cuss
No.
more when you listen to it?
I don't.
Okay.
I noticed there's one podcast.
I'm able
that's-
to filter through that.
Do you believe? I'm sorry. Hang on,
Just-
Chad.
yeah.
Or no, go ahead, Chad.
I just say there's the one podcast that's conspicuously absent from your list of recommendations.
What's that?
This one right
Oh,
here?
gosh.
One decent
The one
pastor.
pastor.
Goes without
I
saying.
listen to that when I'm here.
I mean, you know.
When I'm on.
Do you believe you find him moving, Rogan, toward a discovery?
I think so. I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
there seems
Seems to
be
be
just
having
based
people on there
Right.
more and more that are that direction.
Yep.
But
and they're challenging him in different ways, and I just find him interesting just in the sense that he's not afraid to have people on there and ask
Right.
him hard questions.
I like
And then
that
they
he
have
seems.
to answer and
I like that he seems to be a critical thinker, an objective thinker, rather than just categorical, like fitting into a category.
You have to sift through the language and some of that stuff, you know. But, and it's long. I mean, it's long form.
Yeah, I'll usually catch clips of certain people he has on if I want to hear about a subject. Right. I won't sit through a whole thing. But
I don't typically listen to him like on a weekly basis. It's you know, but
there's not like a picture of him on your wall or anything at home in your office. Okay.
Tattoo on his leg. That's awesome. A lot of people have tattoos of him. Strange.
I did watch the one where he shot Elon Musk's Tesla truck with his compound bow.
Oh, nice.
That's rad. So, I may need to watch that.
That's pretty interesting.
That's worth watching.
Yeah.
How about you boys over there?
I'll mention 3 from that I found since the last time we did a resource dump.
New ones?
Newer ones, not new, but these aren't podcasts per se. They're YouTube channels I watch. But I think they might have a podcast as well. The one is Truth Unites, which is Gavin Ortland, and I really I like it. Gosh, you want to take the next one? You're gonna like all these, David. So maybe not this one. Theocast. The Theocast YouTube channel. These 2 guys that are Reformed Baptist, and they're very just confessional. You know, they appreciate the creeds. A lot of the things we've been discovering, they seem like they're kind of on the same page.
It's solid.
And then the other one's Wise Disciple.
It's
a good YouTube channel.
I turned you on to that guy.
You did?
Yeah, he was an ex-pastor.
Yeah. Yeah, that
dude's Basque. He just is.
He could be. I don't know. Maybe that's why I like him. But I enjoy his content. It's pretty good. It's been good. At some point, we'll wait on that. I was going to say we just need to say that.
No, we'll come back.
These are subject to change.
Right.
These are subject to change, and we'll come back to this. We'll come back. This is kind of why we're doing
discerning, right?
This is kind of why we're doing a resource dump 2.0 right now. Right. It's modified.
I titled this one Resource Dump.
Okay.
Redux.
Yeah.
I think that's redo.
Chad, what have you been listening to podcast-wise?
My favorite podcast is one called Pastor's Talk from the 9 Marks guys. So Mark Dever and Jonathan Lehman, and they have guests in and out. But I think the reason I mention it is that I think it's helpful even for non-pastors. It's a helpful podcast because it helps kind of shape some ecclesiology and kind of like everything. You know, we don't get on board with everything that's put out there, but it's a pretty good podcast, pretty accessible, easy to hang with. And then from Pastors Talk, they've also launched other podcasts, Missions Talk and Bible Talk and Counseling Talk. They got a few other ones. But they're all pretty simple and pretty practical. Yeah. So that's one that I like quite a bit. One that's not necessarily a podcast, but there's a series, Ask Pastor John. So John Piper kind of just responds to questions that come in, and that's on a YouTube channel, and that's super helpful as well. So those are kind of a couple go-tos for me.
Cool. I pulled up my podcast list so we can hear. Yeah, so I can see what I'm listening to. Right? One Decent Pastor, of course, is first, bro. I don't even know why that's. I guess because it uploads first all the time. I'm trying to see if there's new ones on here that I have found. For the Church, of course. I'll listen to For the Church. Who's that? Jared Wilson, Ross Ferguson. Theocast is on there. This is one, though, that I wanted to mention. Take this with a grain of salt. May not be for everybody, but I found it a little bit interesting. Haunted Cosmos. Are you serious? None of you have heard of this, dude? None of you subscribe to this, bro? So it's a couple Christian dudes that are pretty solid, but they explore the non-material stuff in the universe. And so subjects that are a little mystical, are a little interesting, they don't make ironclad. If you're interested in stuff like that usually other people don't talk about, this is pretty adventurous, man.
And they talk about
haunted
Nephilim a bit.
And, they do,
watch it while you're in,
Sasquatch, right? Yeah. Time travel, paranormal. They're gonna talk about what they think about these things, but they're Christians. They're not getting crazy. Haunted Cosmos.
Sounds fascinating.
You know what? I'm done. I'm not even going to share with you guys anymore.
I'm not putting that on our list, David.
Listening to.
You can just tell us about it from time to time.
Any other podcasts that need to be mentioned? We're going to come back to this. So that you got okay. That's probably enough. What was next?
Movies I had on there.
Yeah, dude. Are there any movies that you guys would recommend or that you? Let's start. Can we start? No, let's come back to it. Go ahead. Movies.
One of the most recent ones we saw was The Greatest Christmas Pageant Ever. It was actually pretty good. I like the book.
That's for adults?
That's like an old school movie, isn't it?
Yep.
What is it?
No, it's a new one, just done by Dallas Jenkins. But
okay.
It's based on the book.
The Greatest Christmas Pageant Ever. Oh, never even heard of it.
Charlie Brown.
Yep. No.
Charlie Brown Christmas.
No.
And so what? Is it a 2-hour movie? Is it a?
Yeah, it's like a full. It's probably maybe an hour and a half.
Okay.
It's in the theater.
And it's obviously about the incarnation, or?
No.
All right. You're not going to share with us.
I'm not. You haven't watch it.
And it's not the greatest Christmas passion.
It was the greatest.
But you would recommend
It's
it.
actually a book that
Okay.
they turned into a movie.
Okay.
So
All right.
it was actually pretty good. So,
All right.
Yeah, good storyline.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching other ones, but
I would
you know,
still-
like Elf and Christmas Vacation and some of those. But
Yeah. I
I
think.
don't know if there's any redemptive value in it.
No. It's a Wonderful Life. I mean,
Right.
you got to watch that every Christmas. I mean,
That's
there's
the
some
classic.
that,
One thing that I did
Christmas
come
story.
across is one called Darkroom Faith. So it's
Is that like Haunted Cosmos?
no, it's not. It's actually well done for sort of the young adult generation. They just recently came out. I heard about it at
Dark Room Faith.
at the apologetics conference it was Grace Bible.
Okay.
One of the speakers mentioned they just put it out. Very well done, exploring just a different series of questions like doubt and the church and from like young adults
Is it a
perspective.
documentary then?
No, it's not. It's sort of it's these little sort of 10-minute clips that are exploring each of those different things, and I just came across it. And my son and I have been watching it together and just talking about it, and
Interesting.
it's so you can access it on darkroomfaith.com. I think
And it's pretty good?
It is good.
Recommend it?
Well
Yeah.
done. Because sometimes I mean, unfortunately, Christian movies haven't always been the best.
Really?
Yeah, it's surprising.
That's why my list is
a charitable
non-existent under movies. Actually, the Nativity, since it's Christmas time, I would always recommend. I thought it was actually pretty well done. But yeah, I mean, you don't
There's a
want to.
number of ones
I'm not
out
going
right
to tell you
now.
what kind of movies I would recommend.
Yes.
I heard there's a new one out on Netflix, just on Mary.
Yeah, I
I've
saw, I
never
saw,
read
I saw,
about that today.
I saw a clip of it. I'm
House
always
of
leery to
David,
recommend.
Yeah.
I'm leery to recommend movies because what you think is okay, somebody else
Right,
might
right,
not.
right.
No,
I remember
yeah.
we used to know somebody that they thought, I can't remember which way it went, but Pirates of the Caribbean was fine, Lord of the Rings was evil, or vice versa. And I couldn't ever put my finger on
Why?
what's the criteria we're dealing with
Right.
here. So
Yeah.
I did watch, you recommended it also, but I did see it finally, the Johnny Cash, An American Legend, I think is what it was called,
Yeah.
kind of a documentary.
Greg
It's talking about
Laurie
Greg Laurie and-
interview.
Yeah, it was extremely. I watched it on a Saturday night, and
pretty
just really inspiring. Gospel was very clear in it, and it was
I heard. I think
It was
you
good.
mentioned that.
Yeah.
It was neat to know that pretty much without a shadow of a doubt, this dude had a relationship with the Lord. Like he was an actual Christian.
Yeah, if
Because I
you
think it
watch-
just kind of can go like this.
Yeah.
Like, was the dude a real Christian, or he just liked gospel songs and had a gospel influence growing up, or you know what I mean? Like, what is it?
Yeah. Anyway, it was
What platform
edifying.
was that on? You remember?
No.
Yeah, because in the museum in Nashville, the last section that you walk through is about his faith, and I think he wrote. Well, I don't know if he wrote, but somebody helped him write. I think 3 books. One was on the Man in White. I think it was on the Apostle Paul.
He did a bunch of the music for the Billy Graham
Yeah.
conferences.
Yeah.
He would go and play and lead worship and
They
stuff.
became
And
really good
I mean, I
buddies.
just didn't know a lot of this
Yeah.
stuff, so
He was
it was one of
There's
these
not a lot
things.
of talk about that.
Yeah.
Me and
I
Carrie
just-
went and saw it in the theater. It was in there for like 2 days
Okay.
when it first got released, and I
what's it
walked
called?
out going like, "Dang,
I think it's called Johnny Cash, An American Legend.
I think so." Yeah.
I'd seen Walk the Line in some of these movies,
Yeah.
and they always kind of paint the more darker picture.
Right.
And this definitely captured part of that, and then kind of what basically got him on his knees
That's
and
pretty good.
and changed him, and then kind of where it went from there. And it was powerful.
Yeah.
It was a neat story of a transformed life. So really edifying.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I haven't watched any good movies lately. We went to the theater to see Moana 2.
You mean you haven't watched any good Christian movies lately?
Well, just any good movies lately at
You
all.
took Hudson to the theater to see Moana 2.
Yes.
Okay.
The
Thank
grandson
you.
wanted to go see
Come
a
on,
movie.
You know you want.
Did you at least get popcorn with extra butter?
Yes.
Is that why you go?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
That's
the main
that's
reason.
what got me there. I would have rather taken the grandson to see Gladiator.
I think they've even
Like
changed.
start him young,
Yeah. I think they've even
You gotta
changed
watch
their
the
butter,
first
dude.
one though.
Right. He wanted to see Moana 2, so we saw Moana 2.
Was Russell Crowe in the second one?
Moana?
No, he died.
No.
Or Gladiator.
Gladiator.
No.
He died, dude.
I know, but you gotta go backwards at
Unless
least
he
to
did.
give
You
people.
could have a flashback.
Yeah, flashback.
You never know.
I
how
don't
those
haven't seen
things
the
work.
second one yet. So.
So I haven't either.
I haven't either.
All right, music. We got to move through
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Music. I'll go back to Christmas and Ronnie Martin. He's actually got the same guy that did the Advent book that we were talking about. Actually has Christmas albums that he
Yeah.
puts out, and they're done kind of synth pop, like monosynth type stuff. So kind of that weird kind of alternative style. But I like it. He actually does some pretty good Christmas stuff. So interesting. Ronnie Martin, and he's got like 3 or 4 different Christmas albums, which are interesting. So, all right, go. I'm not going to tell you what else I'm listening to.
Sovereign Grace Christmas.
Nope.
Me. Worship Initiative Christmas. For King and Country Christmas, they've done a couple of good Christmas albums.
Gotcha.
I'm a bit of a humbug in general. I'd rather not ever hear Christmas music.
Kind of like movies, like Christian
I mean, on the
movies,
radio, I
kinda
don't really want to hear Christmas music, but I like some of the old school, like, real old.
Yeah,
if
sure.
I put on a Christmas playlist, it's very much the old
like 30s,
stuff.
40s,
Yeah.
like vintage.
Little Bing
Even a little
Crosby.
Bing,
Yeah.
know.
Totally.
I prefer those.
I
I do. Absolutely love them.
But the new, I don't want to hear Mariah Carey ever again in my life. Sorry, but I don't. That's not something
I just
enjoy.
saw
Right.
at Barnes & Noble the other day that her
Yeah.
CD from back whenever is out again.
Yeah, music's another one.
Apparently
where
she needs more money, so.
I feel like a
Well,
jerk
don't
when
we
I
all?
talk about music. So
You are.
yeah, that's why.
The weird thing is I'm probably
You
a
don't
bigger
listen to
jerk than
music
you are
or
when we
what?
talk about music. No, we're both
just
very
too
picky.
picky. And
I'm the
at
same
point-
way with movies too. I'm
Yeah.
like super picky, man.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't like to talk about either.
Let's get to the boycott stuff.
All right, let's go boycott. Final subject. It is. We have to go. We have to go eat.
More on
It's
music,
actually time to leave.
Yeah, we're running
ready.
there's
the clock
there's
here.
probably a few things that we recommended the first time, resources, podcasts, whatever, that maybe
That you would boycott.
Maybe we would either hard or soft boycott. You can say whether it's a hard boycott or a soft boycott, but probably some things that we wouldn't so much go like, hey, go check this out. We've just
Well,
discovered.
the problem you run into is you see somebody new and you hear a few things and you think, oh, this has been really cool.
Yeah.
Right.
So you recommend it, and then
they change.
They
Not you, but
change.
them.
Well, or both of us.
Yeah, we're both. That's fair.
And then you go, and so one of the ones was that we recommended this young guy called the Redeemed Zoomer, and he was putting out these little videos that would explain like the church history in 5 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And they were quite
Sounded
good.
helpful.
They were good. They were entertaining. They were
Actually, those
I still would
videos are
still recommend
yeah.
those. But as the more that
he-
we've gone on with this guy, the more
well,
he
changed in this case.
yeah, he'll start to say stuff like, non-denominational churches aren't even real churches, that they should all be shut down, that they're or that unless you live in or have a church in a
So we're
building.
fired.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're all
yeah.
we're all worthless
According to him.
churches. We shouldn't even exist.
We're all imposters. We're not really doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean anything.
And if you have a building that used to be a strip mall, you're not a real church.
Yeah.
You have to have ornate. It's just very odd.
So you kinda-
So
And Baptists are the same because he
Yeah.
sees them as the exact same. And in all fairness, you can connect them most of the time. But
Yeah.
he hates the Baptist denomination. Maybe hates a strong word, but gosh, he sure
non-denominational
sounds like
for
it.
sure.
But Baptists, he
Yeah.
sticks way out like these people aren't real. Like
Anyway, we would have to recant our recommendation.
Sort of like Rob Bell when he started out.
Yeah,
pretty-
he's still. I think he's orthodox. I mean, I think he's sound as far as, but some of the conclusions he's coming to as a young.
Redeem Zoomer, not Rob Bell.
Oh no, Rob Bell's
Yeah.
Rob Bell's there. He's a
don't
straight
don't
up-
don't go read Rob Bell. Don't
He's
go
a straight up
Rob
heretic.
Bell.
Wanted
I
to
don't-
clarify.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
no,
do
he's left the
He's left
the
the building.
reservation. Yeah, he's left the foundation.
He's left the
of-
Orthodox building.
Yeah, no, Redeemed Zoomer has not left that. But we just wouldn't recommend him.
Yeah.
He probably, he'll mature as he goes on and hopefully learn some things. But I also think there's this thing that happens when you have money to be made and you want to get more subscribers.
Yeah, you do
there's always this
whatever you gotta do.
jump the shark idea where you've got to say ridiculous things, and he seems to be doing some.
Well,
of that.
he started moving from kind of church history stuff that was kind of informational
Yeah.
and fun into like even debating. Like he started getting on
Yeah.
debates and stuff. In my opinion, I watched a lot of them where he was just in over his head. It's like this is clearly not what you should be doing.
Yeah,
Like,
he actually came to that same conclusion himself.
Yeah,
He
and
doesn't
then the
debate anymore.
Reconquista thing, like he's big on like staying in completely like tainted denominational streams, like the Presbyterian.
trying to pull them back to
Yeah,
mainline.
and
PCA
like
is
I'm going to
what
stay
he's a
here
part
and I'm
of.
going to make sure that I reform. And it's like,
Or
so that, like,
PCUSA, that's what he's a part
yeah,
Pretty sure
and
that's
it's
the
like
Lord's job.
you're drowning. Like leave the church; they're apostate. But like, so he's definitely got some ideas that are different.
Okay.
Anyway, we probably wouldn't run out and recommend it anymore. Anybody else that you or any authors or I mean, it kind of goes beyond that. You kind of have over the years gone like, you know what, maybe this isn't something that's real helpful that maybe you once thought was. And that's actually good if we don't have anybody
I don't know.
else.
I
That's
kind of
fine.
tend to probably like you guys,
pretty
read
picky.
broadly and
Yeah.
read and listen to guys who I know that I'm not necessarily going to agree with. I might not listen to heretics, but I might listen to guys that I'm not necessarily going to be on board with everything they put out, just to learn where they're coming from and that kind of a thing. And so there might be some people that I wouldn't necessarily recommend as kind of a main resource, but at the same time, like I might still listen and read, just from an educational perspective.
So like David Platt, there may be something somewhere where you'd find it helpful to read something he's done. Yeah.
But there was a time when we recommended some of his books, and I probably wouldn't based on some of what's going on now.
Right.
There's some stuff happening there. Christianity Today is one I'm a little concerned about. They seem to be kind of moving a little more progressive, and so I've kind of tried to kind of keep an eye on that. And Russell Moore has, put out some things that I'm like, I don't think that's probably where the scriptures are calling us to. And so, I mean, just be probably more of a soft one. Kind of wait and see almost, with that.
If people are discerning, it's kind of helpful to be able to read, like you said, various things, but a lot of people aren't discerning, and so it can get kind of weird.
I think with any of it, you have to be discerning, no matter who it is.
With Haunted Cosmos, you have to be discerning.
Yeah, very much.
That one kind of goes without saying, David.
I
assume
I'm going to keep saying it because it
even
freaked
on
you
YouTube,
guys out.
you gotta be like the Bereans. Okay, let's take it back to the Word of God. I mean, even when you watch the One Decent Pastor podcast, you got to take it back to the.
Well, you got to discern everything.
Yeah, when Jeff's on the episodes when Jeff's on, you kind of slow it down.
Definitely discern it.
Yeah, don't play it backwards.
Another one that this will probably make people mad, but I'm going to say it anyway. The Chosen, we recommended that.
That was part of what I thought would come up, maybe.
Well, we recommended that early on because I saw maybe 4 or 5 episodes, and it was way better than I thought it was going to be, and so it kind of just said, wow, this is actually pretty good. I haven't continued to watch it. I've only heard kind of the direction that maybe they've been going, and maybe some friendliness towards the Mormon faith and different things. So I
haven't seen that.
I haven't continued to see it.
I've watched it.
Yeah,
I've continued to watch it.
Yeah,
but I haven't experienced that.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. And so I don't know, but it's one of those we recommended it without really knowing how it was all going to go and how it was going to end. And so without having seen it,
in all fairness, I think our recommendation at first was just like the quality of it was like this is actually like done pretty well. Like even
it's not cheesy.
Even the spirit of it seems to be better than most Jesus movies. Like the spirit it's done in, and so I think this is where different people are going to probably bump heads on whether it's valid for them to watch it or they need to stay away from it. It's because some people are just looking at the connections. Oh, the financing comes from here, and this dude has a connection with this, and then other people are going to go, I'm just looking at the quality, like the spirit of the way it's done.
Well, and that actually, so that there is a delay between I can't remember, season 3 and 4, and part of the delay was they were separating from the main producer of Angel Studios, who is owned by a Mormon company, and now they've created their own company that way. So I think my concern, and I've watched all of them up till now. My concern, I think, in any of those movies, but I think in The Chosen, is there can be a tendency to try to make Jesus more human than God. And so
that's part of what I liked about it, but not more. I don't want him to be more than God.
Yeah.
But I did appreciate how human they made him, because I think we have a hard time understanding.
Yeah. Bottom line is if we continue, if we continue to watch it, we might still enjoy it. But because we only saw a part of the first season.
Again, if your conscience allows you to, have fun.
I'll probably go back. I'll probably finish it at some point, and I'll be able to have a real opinion about it. But right now, I don't.
So many people are quick to be offended by the 6 degrees of separation, right? Yeah. And then kind of just automatically label something, as evil or less than. And like we've already talked about, I mean, it's key to just be discerning in whatever it is that we read and watch and listen to.
Yeah, I don't think it's a thing to divide for, but we've had people that have left our church because we've shown it.
Oh yeah,
we've had people that were very strongly opinionated against it.
So.
Yeah, they probably came to the door. They left here because of it, and then they left there because of it.
We just had one person that doesn't even come to the church anymore that kind of rebuked us and said, you guys need to be careful. And it's like, all right. But
discernment.
Right? Yeah.
I think.
I
don't know that I have any big ones that I think
that's good.
Because
that's good.
I'm pretty picky in what I read.
I have 2 more I'm going to mention.
Yes, you are, Jeff.
2 more that I'm going to mention because we mentioned them on
Discerning.
Here. And recommended them at one point in some way. The Babylon Bee and the Holy Nope.
Yeah,
those are 2 that they've both become, in my opinion, pretty mean-spirited.
Right, agreed.
And they were funny at first and kind of poked fun at Christians mostly, and now they've just gotten to the point where, to me, it's like they've just crossed the line, and they're not Christ-like. They're not kind. In a way that I could recommend them. So
I agree with that.
You might still enjoy them. You might get a kick out of them. But as far as like,
what's I don't know the Holy Nope.
It's the small clips of basically small clips of like the reality of the circus in the church. So usually like Pentecostal churches, or whether it's snake handling or tambourine church, or
like way off
and they'll
rails
take like
stuff.
video. where the dude will, or just a bad teaching, where someone's just
Right.
teaching something that's completely off, and it'll be a little clip where this dude, like, it shows him, like, opening his front door to go out. He's got his Bible in his hand, and he's going to church, and then it shows whatever clip he's showing, and then it shows him close the door and go, nope, and, like, come back into his house. Like, so
some of them are hilarious.
no, some of them are funny, but it's kind of like too much.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many
over
of
the
them,
top.
and it's just too much, man. But,
Yeah, you watch maybe 10 of them and you'll laugh, and then it's
Okay.
like, okay, I've
Yeah.
got my fill of this,
Yeah.
and it's not funny anymore. And
There's no boycott on it. It's just, again, because we mentioned it as something.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody heard us mention it and then they watched it. At this point, it's like, okay, it's kind of mean spirited.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's one of those things. Like, even like there's times when I'll watch certain ones. Like I'll watch Todd Friel and the Wretched and some of those.
He can be
And
annoying.
sometimes you're
Like,
like, I don't know that I would take that hard of a stance against that.
Sure. Right.
But I can appreciate where you're coming from. It's still that's the discernment piece. I'm not going to stop watching you because but if you're teaching heresy or it's like, man, I'm not going to.
He can be annoying, but for the most part, like he can also be helpful. Like there's even though his personality may not appeal to me, some of the stuff he does is right on, and it's very informing.
And just because someone's really passionate about something doesn't mean they're right.
Correct.
Right? It's like
correct.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So
one of the frustrating things, like I'm seeing in my YouTube feed a lot lately, title like kind of clickbaity type titles on Christian things.
Oh, yeah.
And that just bugs me. And so like latest update on, this person's situation or behind the scenes on this. And it's just total clickbait. Yeah. And I don't think that's helpful. Yeah. And then sometimes I'll kind of fall for I'll watch them just because I'm curious. Okay, what is this? And then it's just, again, mean-spirited things and gossipy, kind of things. And we've heard this about this person and seems like this, and it's just not helpful things at all.
Yeah.
But people are just getting their fix of kind of the latest gossip.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? Is like we should be getting our theology from the Bible over YouTube.
right. Well, and
I
some
think we
things.
should ban like.
But what about
YouTube
when
shorts.
they both collide?
YouTube Shorts. Sounds like
That's shortening our attention span.
Speaking of YouTube, I want to go back before we exit and hit 3 recommendations on YouTube, like personalities that have shows on there that I think are helpful. The Lutheran guy would be Jordan Cooper. Do not agree with all of his theology or everything he says, but he's kind of the face of Lutheran on there, and it's very informational. And then you got like Matthew Eberhard would be the Presbyterian guy that I would recommend. He's got if you're interested in what they believe and what they teach. It's
good.
And then I would say Gavin Ortland is the Baptist. He's right because of the way he views baptism.
Yeah, he's the best of the bunch.
Gavin is, I think,
And he does a great job.
And there's things that Gavin will sometimes do shows on or teach biblically that you may not agree with. So when it comes to like creation, origin of the earth, how old it is, stuff like that, he's got some, but he's compelling. He's he likes. He's in pursuit of the truth. That's what I love the most about him. And he's very charitable towards other people, very loving towards other people. Like I think the dude has just been a huge addition, like blessing of an addition to me when I spend time watching stuff. So all right, cool. Anything else? We're done.
I would say we do have.
Shav is one of his books.
Oh, there you go.
Finding the Right Hill to Die On.
We're gonna get him up here to the Spurgeon Fellowship one of these days. Right.
We do have lists of these resources, except for a couple of them, like the Haunted Cosmos is not on there.
What?
You're going to have to remember that one.
It could be.
Yeah. But if you ever want a list of the recommended, teachers, the things we're talking about, we have those lists. So
You just don't like the word haunted, do you?
no.
Are you scared?
You should
just
have a
thinking about it?
Goldfield,
100%.
Nevada.
I have
been to
haunted,
Goldfield.
high school?
Yeah, absolutely. The haunted hotel in Goldfield. Yeah, like the whole
was
thing.
the
The whole
high
thing's
school,
haunted there. No, haunted it doesn't mean that it's just talking about ghosts and ghouls. It's just talking about the unseen realities that exist.
Is there
That's
ghosts?
ghosts and ghouls.
Okay, someone pray.
Are there ghosts? I don't.
I'm leaving.
That should be a podcast about ghosts.
We could start it on Tuesdays.
The haunted one decent bastard.
There we go.
It's good to have you back. I'm glad you got to go to Hawaii for a couple weeks, man. I'm
Yep,
kind of
it was
jealous, actually, but I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
Chad, you want to do it? You want to
All right.
pray us out?
All right, let's do it. Lord, we're thankful for today and just all the times we get to have conversations on the podcast. Pray that they'd be helpful to people, just all of us in our pursuit of what's true and what's right and what's good. And so pray that you would help us to have discernment in the things that we read and watch and listen to as we pursue truth together. And we ask in Christ's name, amen.
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 All right, see you next time.